together with you all. Starting as always with a question that's come in advance from our internet-based online family. And then we'll open it up to any questions that anyone here has. So there's a microphone here. If you've got any questions, just feel free to come up to the mic and share your name, and you can ask your question. I have been in a cycle of getting easily bored in my jobs. I find something new to learn, then I become bored again. As a result, I question if I can do anything in life. How do I settle this? This is asked by Samadhan. Great name. For those of you who don't speak Hindi, Samadhan means like the solution, the answer. So it's a beautiful name for someone asking the question. Boredom. Boredom is a really interesting thing because it actually has very little to do with what's happening outside and all to do with what's happening on the inside. Imagine you've just fallen in love, or you're seeing your loved one or your best friend for the first time in a long time. You sit together on the couch, you're so happy to see each other. And you just sit on the couch. You know, maybe you'll talk a little bit about what you've been doing, but mostly you're just so happy to be together. You're not doing anything. You're just sitting on the couch. Just sitting there. And it's ecstatic. You're exuberant. You are so happy to just be sitting there together. It would never occur to you in a million years, Cello, let's turn on the TV and see if there's anything to watch. It's like, no, I want to be together. I don't want to see the TV. I want to just be with you. Now, from an objective standpoint, there's nothing going on. You're not doing anything. You're not entertained. You're not engaged. You're not challenged. You're not enticed or compelled, or nothing is there. But you're very happy. You would never say, oh my God, it was so boring to just sit on that couch with my loved one. Because inside, you are connected to the moment. Now in those cases, it's because you are connected to the person sitting next to you. But it also happens, sit on a beach and you watch the waves. Now one way of watching the waves or watching the sunset or watching the stars in the night, one way is, you're bored, nothing to do, I'm just watching the waves. But what that means is your eyes are not really open. Because if your eyes are actually open, and you're really present in that moment, watching a sunset, watching the waves, watching the stars in the sky, it's the most incredible experience that connects you to all of creation. People have the most extraordinary spiritual awakening experiences, epiphanies, creative breakthroughs in poetry and writing and songwriting and art. Walking along the beach, looking at the waves, watching the stars in the sky. So if you're bored, what it means is you are not engaged in the moment. And interestingly, it's going to sound counterintuitive, but interestingly, boredom means you're so stuck in your own thoughts that you're not able to be engaged in the moment. If I'm walking along the beach, but I'm thinking about, oh my God, that person who did something that really annoyed me, this person who ignored me or was rude to me, and your mind is full of nonsense, you'll actually get bored very quickly. Because what you're thinking about is boring. I mean, really, all the ways you've been wronged by random people, it's probably the most boring subject on earth. But it's what most of us try to fill most of our brains with. How this person has cheated us, how this person has been mean to us, how this person doesn't respect us. It's boring. So if that's all that's going on and you're not able to engage with actually the moment where you are, you're going to get bored. For how long can you tell yourself the same stories? The people around you won't listen anymore. They're like, yeah, I've heard that one. Please, for God's sakes, it happened 20 years ago. Stop telling the story. Do you think if Samnewala is bored after hearing it 3 or 4 times, how bored you must be on the inside after hearing it night and day? So when you are stuck in your own repetitive thoughts, stuck in the judging mind, the critical mind, the negative mind, the mind that's in the past and the future, you're going to be bored. It's a boring place. But if you allow yourself to actually be in the moment, every moment is so fresh, so new. It's why we love babies so much, or it's one of the reasons. If you've ever noticed, and it happens to all of us, sometimes it happens in satsang also, it's a good reminder. Every once in a while we'll have a little kid, somebody will bring their kid into satsang, and the kid, it just happened last week, kid is this big, roaming around or looking at things, not doing anything actually interesting. Child is not singing or dancing or having a temper tantrum, but they're literally just kind of wandering around, investigating a blade of grass or a leaf on a plant, or the, grass in the tiles or their own toes. And all of the heads, everybody is with the kid. It happens in Arati sometimes. There'll be a cute little kid. Everybody, why? Why are we so drawn? Because there is a yearning within us to see the world again through the eyes of the child. And by following the child around, by engaging with the child, holding its hand, playing with it, there's a way in which, for a brief period of time, we are able to vicariously, through that child, find the joy in life again. You've got a little kid and you're like, yeah, look, it's a piece of grass. Isn't that great? Now, could you imagine if you didn't have a kid on the end of your pinky getting all excited about a blade of grass? Of course not. Could you imagine saying to your husband or wife or your friend, oh, look, it's a blade of grass? You'd never do it. You'd feel like a fool. They would laugh at you. But with a kid, we all have the opportunity to again get excited about the world. Right? I mean, we play peekaboo. Suddenly we're excited about our own faces. Like, oh, look. Now, what are we doing that's so exciting to us? We don't even know the kid. What's exciting is we are again re-engaging with life. We were standing in the checkout line at a grocery store, flipping through a magazine, looking for something interesting while we wait for the checkout clerk to come to our groceries. Then suddenly there's a little kid who comes in with their mom or dad in back of us. Instead of the boring magazine, I can play with the kid. Well, from an objective level, the magazine's much more interesting. It'll tell you what's happening politically. It'll give you all the gossip you want to know about every film star or politician or royal member of the family. I mean, whatever it is that interests or excites you, the magazine will tell you everything. The kid's just a little baby. But we always will play with the baby because it gives us an opportunity to actually engage with life. So boredom comes when you are not engaged with life. In your work, if the work itself is not something that is challenging to you, find a different way to be engaged. Lots of people have very meaningful lives with work that is not in and of itself engaging. Waitresses, waiters, barbers, gas station attendants, housekeepers. I mean, there's all kinds of jobs that are really menial labor. Janitors in a school. Menial labor. Nothing interesting about it. Sweepers. But every once in a while, you find ones who are actually the most memorable people because they were able to turn their job into something that allowed them to engage with life. They connected with every person who came through the gas station, every person they waited on in the restaurant, rather than thinking of it as just table 9. Oh, is this your first date? Oh, have you just met? Oh, is it an anniversary? Oh, is it your birthday? Oh, where are you from? Are you visiting from out of town? Oh, you like French fries? Yeah, so do I like French fries also. Just minute by minute, moment by moment, opportunities to connect. That's what removes boredom from our life. And ultimately, ideally, the core connection is one with God. Go through your life chanting your mantra, seeing the divine wherever you look. But along the way, if you can connect with other humans, if you can connect with Mother Nature, it'll bring you into that exuberance of every minute of life. So then you don't need your job to keep you entertained. You don't need your family members to keep you entertained. Life itself is exuberant. The fact that you have a job is a blessing. The fact that you have family members is a blessing. Suddenly it's not their job to free you from boredom. Because you're never bored. Because you're connected to life. So that becomes the answer. It's not about find a job that's exciting. It's about find a way of living that's exciting. Great, yeah. Other questions? Yes.
Hello. Yeah. Hi, I'm Shreyas. And before I start, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. It was really inspirational and really, it must have taken a lot of courage. So like a round of applause for that. And don't worry, this is not real leather. So like you, I'm a scientist. And I have a hard time believing in things that I can't see proof of. But when I was really young, I visited Bodh Gaya. And from that moment, I've known that there's a way to connect with the world that is beyond our senses. 2 days ago, you spoke about there being a higher self and how you should let it have the steering wheel. What is this higher self, and how do I realize him for myself? Like, how do I... Like I'm okay with proof that I can see through meditation, but like, what exactly do I need to do? And also when you spoke about... Sorry, it's a loaded one.
That's okay.
When you spoke about letting him, her, whatever, take the wheel, what does that mean? Like, should I stop thinking and acting, or like doing everything through intuition, or should I... Like, am I missing the point here?
Sure, great questions. Okay. So your higher self. We actually have more than one higher self. It's a bit of a gradient. So if I'm living in a way that is really unconscious, I'm living just about pleasure and money and to-do lists and desires and lust and greed and all of that. From there, a higher self becomes a conscious self. A self who's compassionate, who's living according to Dharma. Right? That's higher than the base level of, what you can think of as kind of our animal existence. The animals in human form. But that we're basically living the same way that animals live. We are taking care of our physical needs. We're fulfilling our desires. And we are looking to become the kind of metaphoric alpha male, whatever that may mean in our particular society, whether it's about money or followers on Instagram or size of your house, whatever alpha male means in my context. That's what I'm looking to become. That's our animal self. That's what animals do. They feed themselves, they procreate, they want to be the alpha because then they have the opportunity to procreate more. They fight those who threaten them. And then we start to contact our human self. That's where Dharma comes in. I'm able to say, yeah, I would like to steal that person's car because it's nicer than my car, but hey, that's actually wrong. The action of stealing is wrong, and even the mindset that covets is a very lower mindset. And so I start focusing under this shade of Dharma, I start focusing on a higher aspect of self. Can I live more compassionately? Can I live with buddhi, with shuddhi? And I start watching my thoughts. So that's higher. But we can keep going higher. And when I speak about your higher self, that kind of capital H higher self, what I mean is that aspect of you that is full and pure consciousness. See, everything that happens in the world is changing. I see something I like, I am happy. I see something I don't like, I am sad or I am angry. That which is happening outside is changing my emotional state. Quite literally, it's changing my brain, chemically and electrically. All of the emotions that we have take place in our brain. So I see something, it triggers a response that triggers a reaction in my brain that makes me end up being triggered to do something like yell or hit you or punch a hole through the wall. We call that anger. But what happened was my brain got co-opted, hijacked, by that which was happening in the present moment. You hit me, or you said something mean to me. It started this cascade. The next thing you know, I am angry and I'm hitting you or I'm punching the wall. The higher self is not changed. The higher self is that which is unchanging. It is the one watching, the one aware. You can think of it like a movie screen. Sometimes there's horror shows. Sometimes there's romance movies. Sometimes there's adventure movies. Sometimes there's comedy movies. But the screen stays the same. The screen is unchanged, no matter what is being projected in that moment. A good way, an easy way to think about it is if you just think about awareness of sight. So right now I am aware of the glass. I move the glass, I am aware of the camera. I move my head, I'm aware of the fan. I move it a little more, I'm aware of the other camera. Can move it here and there and be aware of all of you. I can look up and be aware of the trees. The object of awareness keeps changing. And I don't even have to move my head. I mean, you just have to go sit outside and stare straight in front of you, and the world keeps changing. Just keeps changing right in front of you. But the power of being aware doesn't change. Right? Now that's just with my eyes. My power of sight isn't changing, but what I am seeing is changing. Right? You with me? Okay. So eyes are that which is stable. That which I am seeing is moving. Go a step deeper. The brain is stable. It's always there. It always exists. The chemistry and electricity that is taking place in the brain is constantly changing. Right? Higher self implies you are the one that is unchanging. The lower self is constantly changing. Now I'm angry, now I'm happy, now I'm upset, now I'm this, now I'm that. Oh, you did what I want, I like you. You didn't do what I want, I don't like you. The power of awareness is that which doesn't change. Higher self is anchoring in that power of awareness. And so it's literally a practice of just being aware. Now there is an experience of rapid heartbeat. There's an experience of heat in the body. There's an experience of stories being shown on the screen of my brain of all the ways people have injured me. We can call this experience anger. I am the one who's aware of it. I'm noticing it. It's like you're walking on the beach or you're watching the waves, and you can say, big wave, small wave, rough ocean, calm ocean. You're just the one watching it. What most of us do is we literally jump in and we get thrown around by the waves. That's lower self. Higher self is, I'm aware. I'm fully present, I'm fully here. I'm not disconnected, disengaged. But I'm just that power of pure awareness. That's the higher self that we speak about. Now, when you're in that state, you have access to, you use the word intuition. So when we speak about giving the steering wheel to the divine, to the higher self, what it means is the fully conscious self, the self that is not driven by ego, by anger, by fear, by desire, by reaction, by making the neighbors happy, by what somebody you follow on social media has posted today, but that you are driving the car of your life by that power of pure awareness that, by the way, sees not only everything outside, but sees the inner world as well, meaning it sees you in your human incarnation, your dharma, it knows. It is the field in which that voice of intuition arises. When you are calm and quiet, not agitated, that's when that voice of intuition arises. And that is the divine self. Because the higher self is also the one that is aware, I am divine. I'm not these constantly changing feeling states. I am soul. I am spirit. And in that awareness of soul and spirit, the higher self has access to that voice, that knowing. You can call it knowing, you can call it intuition. But it's a way of knowing that doesn't come to you through your five senses. But we can only access it when we're anchored in that higher self. So that's what we mean by giving the steering wheel. It doesn't mean you give it to God and then all of you just do nothing. It means you give it to that presence of the divine in you. In you. Flowing through you. Because the divine flowing through you is going to manifest in action differently than the divine flowing through Johan over here, or Alejandro over there, or through him. It's going to manifest differently. So you need to access that flow of the divine through you, through this Jivatma. Because it's a different reflection. And it's going to manifest in different ways. So that's what you want to connect with. Of course. Yeah, any other questions? Yes.
Hi, my name is Pooja and I'm here for the Ganga Yoga retreat which is going on.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's just been one day here and already mind is calm, body is relaxed, doing a lot of yoga. I want to know when we go back and start our corporate lives, our daily routine, what do you think we can continue doing? Because we lose track of time or we don't get time, we get busy with our lives. Because of the aura here, the energy, the power, it's effortless. You don't have to put in a lot of effort. It just flows in you. But when we go back, consciously what can people like me and everybody here do to maintain this aura, even to what 5% of we have here?
Beautiful. So this, as you can imagine, is the evergreen question. Comes up all the time when people come. And the answer is actually really, it's quite simple. It's in two parts. One part is while you're here what you have to do, and then one part is what you have to do when you go back. While you're here, you have to let yourself really be changed. If everything you experience here is just oopered, even if it's nice and peaceful and calm, peace and calm can also be on a superficial level. People feel really calm and happy when they go out and get drunk with their friends. Right? Now, most of us would not consider that a very wise or deep or meaningful way to experience peace and calm. It's quite shallow. But the point is that that experience can arise. Sitting on a couch completely zoning out while you binge watch some series, you're quite calm. In fact, do you know that you burn fewer calories watching TV than you do sleeping? It's one of my favorite statistics in the world, because calories, of course, are a product of how much work the body is doing, right? You're running, you're exercising, you're burning a lot of calories. But even sitting still, your brain is working, your digestion is working, the circulatory system is working, everything is working. You're still burning calories. Sleep, to most of us, is kind of the time of day in which you are least active, right? By definition. Sleep is the time we are least active. We should burn the fewest calories sleeping. But you actually burn fewer calories watching TV than you do sleeping. Meaning your brain, because the body is still there, body is holding you up, but your brain has become so numb that it actually stops burning calories. Now, I mention this because that can be very relaxing for people. But it's a very superficial level of relaxation. It doesn't last. The minute you stand up from the TV, that relaxation is over. So the first step is you really want to make sure while you're here that the relaxation and the peace is not just because you're away from the office. That it's not just because you're away from household chores. That it's not just because you're in, a beautiful external environment. You want to make sure it goes deep. So in the yoga, in the meditation, in the ceremonies, allow it to really go deep. If you allow yourself to be really changed, that change will stay with you, regardless of where you go. Because it's you. It's you who have been changed. So hold on to that. The second piece is when you plan to go back and when you go back, which means you've got to very actively and consciously plan your life, your day, your week, your month, of when are you going to have time for your spiritual practice? When are you going to connect with a sangha? When are you going to go to yoga? When are you going to meditate? When are you going to gather together in satsang? What are you going to do? What are you going to fill your days and your weeks with, other than just work or the same things that you used to do? Because if you go back and you do exactly what you used to do, you're going to feel exactly like you used to feel. So plan it in advance. How are you going to change how you spend your day? Now, you still have to go to work, but you've got a lot of free time before and after. How are you going to spend that? If you spend it just scrolling on social media, you're going to feel disconnected. You're going to feel frustrated. You're going to feel stressed. You're going to feel all of those things. But if you spend it meditating, doing yoga, chanting, watching satsang, making food for homeless poor people that you go out and give to them, doing something that's meaningful, it'll change you. But you got to plan it in advance. If you wait for time to arise, it'll never happen. Second thing is, set reminders during your day. Let the alarm on your phone, use it for something good. Let it keep going off once an hour, once every 30 minutes. Just to remind you. Take a moment, take 30 seconds, take 1 minute, and just go in. Just reconnect. It'll keep you anchored all day. You start the morning with your meditation, you end the day with your meditation. But this will keep you anchored to that through the day. Share as much as you can. Talk to people as much as you can about when you were here, what you felt, what you experienced. Find other spiritual people who you can connect with. Have dinners with them, lunches with them, talk to them, so that you can keep sharing spiritual experiences. That's the meaning of the word sangha, this community. So find that. You're very fortunate to live in India where this exists. Wherever you want to find it, it's here. So many people come from all over the world where those communities they don't exist so much, and people have to find communities online. But here in India, pretty much wherever you are, there's so many different spiritual groups. Yoga groups, meditation groups, kirtan groups, Bhagavad Gita study groups, whatever it may be. Join some. Connect with people. Find a good core sangha. And then keep coming back. Keep charging your batteries. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your night, everyone. A beautiful morning and day to our loved ones joining us online. And a very, very, very happy Ganga Dashera to everyone. If you have not yet offered to Ganga all of that that's keeping you stuck, go down now and just offer it to her. Your anger, your pain, your stories that you tell yourself, your grudges, your jealousies, whatever it may be. Just offer them to her. Let her take them. You're here for a reason, and you're here on a very, very sacred day. Have a beautiful evening.